Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Okay, we're seeing this Manīṣā Pañcakam, and today we have to see last verse. Now, where is this? Where does this last verse fit into this whole thing? Well, this is a simple thing. Our pursuit, and the pursuit by every living creature, Brahmadi Pipilikantaha, from Brahmaji all the way down to, even Brahmaji doesn't want anybody to bother him, he wants to be happy. From Brahmaji all the way down to an ant, all creatures and all beings want to be happy. And that is why all these Mahavakyas in any case, that is why all the scriptures, sadhana, really speaking, all beings want to be happy. That is first thing. Second thing, we want to be happy permanently, not any temporary happiness. No creature wants any temporary happiness. Even one moment of sorrow we don't want. So, the teaching in the Upanishad, teaching in the tradition is very simple. That happiness which we want, which is permanent, can only be had by mukti. There is no other way. And mukti is not something I find outside. Mukti is my own nature. I am nitya mukta. Every being is nitya mukta. Nitya mukta means all the time mukta, because no matter what conditioning and identification and circumscription of space, that space is always connected with and never unconnected to infinite space. In the same way, no matter what conditioning, what identification of consciousness, infinite consciousness, one consciousness, no matter what identification or nama rupa it has taken on, it is never unconnected to infinite consciousness. And so one is nitya mukta. Therefore Bhagavan Shankaracharya says in his Atma Shadakam, na bandhurna muktaha, na bandha na muktaha, means that there is no such thing as bondage, and it is a very peculiar situation. Like, I'm seeing water on the highway when I'm driving. So the peculiar thing is, there is water and there is no water. But which is the more correct one? The more correct one is that there is no water. Means there is an appearance of water. So that we admit about this universe, we admit that there is an appearance of bondage and therefore an appearance of mukti, because they are pairs of opposites. You can't have the appearance of one. There is an appearance of bondage, there is an appearance of upadhi, there is an appearance of all things in the world, and an appearance is not a real thing. We do not deny the appearance. We don't deny the mirage which I see on the highway, but we know that it is not real. That is the idea. So we leave the illusion as it is, we accept it as an illusion, and we remove delusion. Delusion was thinking that the water is real. To think that something is something else or opposite to what it is, or any such thing, that is called a delusion. So I leave the water on the highway, but just understand that it is not real. Leave it means in any case you have to leave it, you have no choice, because you can't do anything about it. I mean, you will continuously see. Recently I had gone to some place only last week, and that was the case. We are constantly seeing a mirage. And not only that, a mirage on a mirage. It is an amazing thing. For the first time it occurred to me, and it answered some questions also. We are seeing way over there oncoming traffic, and we are seeing way over there, right where the oncoming traffic is, we are seeing the mirage, the water. So the mirage is not real. That we know from experience. And amazingly, I had never known before, maybe never thought about it, or maybe never seen before. What? The oncoming traffic were reflected in that mirage. What a thing, it's an amazing thing. So there is no water there, but the oncoming traffic whose light was on, I remember, whose light was on, you could see the light reflected in a mirage. So that is a mirage in a mirage, because a reflection is not a real thing also. A reflection is an unreal thing. So a reflection of the oncoming bus in something which is not there. What then? If 2 steps of that mirage is possible, I mean 2 steps of that illusion is possible, because the first one is an illusion, and then there's an illusion in a illusion. If 2 steps are possible, imagine how many steps are possible. This type of illusion is what makes up this universe. And therefore, we leave the illusion as it is. And I just have to remove the delusion, to think that it is real, to think that it will give me happiness, to think all this is delusion. So to remove the delusion. So, one of the basic delusion which all human beings have is the happiness which he is looking for is out there. Well, this is a major delusion. Means to think opposite to what something is called illusion, right? So to think that there is happiness out there, that is a great big delusion. And the irony of that is the human being is in search of happiness by running away from happiness. Well, that is a wonderful thing. My nature is happiness, my nature is bliss, and he is looking for bliss by running away from it. Means he is looking for it out there. Well, that is a real super delusion. You see, that is more delusion than the delusion associated with Sat and Chit. The delusion associated with Sat and Chit is Sat Chit are infinite, right? So when I open my eyes functioning through my mind are designed to see things in a broken fashion. Like this is here and that camera is over there, and this is separate from that. So the universe is broken up into items. Here is a microphone, there is a camera, there is a human being, there is a chair. The universe is broken up into items. So, when I open my eyes, I cannot but see that, right? So, in other words, I am not constantly engaged in a process of creating it. I just have to open my eyes and it happens, because the eyes connected to the mind is like a prison that breaks up light. So the eyes connected to the mind is like the prison that breaks up Sat and Chit into all this various objects. So all I have to do is just open my eyes and then voila, it is there. It is not like I am making a conscious effort. But this thing called as bliss or ananda, well, I have to make a conscious effort to run after this thing in the world. It is here, it is there, it is in this time, this place. When I get there, when I get that, I will be happy, like that. I have to actually do some thinking and do some pursuit of that bliss. Satan Chit, I don't have to do anything. That means the nature of the delusion associated with Sat Chit, I don't have to make an effort. But the nature of the delusion associated with bliss, I have to make effort every day. That is why human beings, see why this world is running. See, the moment 4 o'clock the alarm rings, all beings wake up. You go on our highway there, right? Hare Rama. From now till 10 o'clock. It's a zoom, zoom, honking, and this one going on the shoulder and try to pass everybody, and police catch him there. And so the police gets blissed by giving him a ticket. And this fellow gets blissed by going on because he perceives some joy, something. So now see, in this delusion of that the bliss is, happiness is out there, he is in a frenzied lifestyle trying to catch that, and he keeps running away from the thing to catch the thing. That is an amazing. The Upanishads teach the nature of my own self is Ananda. Now you could see from the Bhagavad Gita and from so many places that the bliss which we are talking about is not the ordinary bliss, ordinary happiness which we know. For instance, we say, Bhagavan says, for instance, in Gita, Sukha Dukkhe Same Kritva Labha Labhau Jaya Jayo. Means you have to maintain your balance in Sukha and Dukkha. That means what? The Shastras prescribe neither Sukha nor Dukkha. So then that means that the Ananda which we are talking about is not the Sukha and Dukkha which we know in this world. Now what is the other thing then? You see, Sukha and Dukkha is pleasure and pain. Pleasure and pain. In those two things we keep our balance. So the scripture is saying you maintain samatvam. Don't run to the side of Sukha and don't run to the side of Dukkha. Maintain your balance and continue doing whatever duty and all that. Now, the Ananda which we are talking about cannot be the Sukha which the scripture itself is rejecting. The Ananda which we are talking about then has to be something else. And the thing which we are all pursuing is something else. And therefore, when the scripture describes Brahman as, see, Satyam, Jnanam, Ananta. The scripture describes Brahman as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, right? Or Sat, Chit, Ananda. That Chit, the middle one, and Jnanam, they are one and same. That will come up just now. Chit and Jnanam is one, and Jnanam is consciousness and Chit is consciousness. So in both these lines, Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam, and Sat, Chit, Ananda, the last word is Ananda or Anantam. the infinite or bliss, right? So that means that is part and parcel of Brahman, that is part and parcel of what I am. So how is it to be identified in me? It is not to be identified by this joy which I experience when I get something. Like when I see a nice object, I get some joy. So that joy is caused by the acquisition of the object. That is called a pleasure. That is the sukha dukkha which Bhagavan is talking about. Sukha, this sukha hai. That is not what we are in pursuit of. We are in pursuit of ananda. And how it is to be identified? Very simply. That is what Bhagavan says. Jnanam labdva param shantim. Jnanam labdva means this bliss or ananda is actually param shantim. It is the supreme state of peace. Peace and bliss are synonyms. You have to understand this thing. We are not talking about the bliss or the happiness of jubilation on the acquisition of some object. That is temporary. Antavanta it is. It has beginning and end. So this bliss is Shanti. It is to be identified in our own self as Param Shantim, supreme Shanti, peace. And therefore what we are all looking for in some sense or the next is supreme peace. That's why Atma Ramo Shanti Sita. All the monkeys are looking for Sita only. Monkeys mean thoughts. All our thoughts are directed and trained and channeled only to find Shanti, peace, which is the same as Ananda or bliss. Just like we are seeing in this text, how we have various types of words for in the two genders for the same thing. Sanskrit is like that. Sanskrit has various types of words for the same thing, and the words will for either be masculine or feminine, like that. So here you just have a masculine and a feminine word referring to the same. Why? Because Brahman is neuter. So Brahman can take on masculine form or feminine form. The word Brahman is neuter word. You could take on both the forms, you see. So we'll have masculine words for Sat and masculine words for Chit and masculine words for Ananda, and then same thing, feminine words also. So we have been seeing in this text the Chit, Samvit word I was telling is feminine, like that. So in this Ananda now also, Ananda will be masculine and Shanti will be feminine. Both the words referring to one and same thing. Now we have to identify therefore bliss in our own self as Param Shanti. Param Shanti. Now, from a very ordinary level, you just think. Really, our most blissful moments is when we have moments of peace. I will tell you how. Suppose I like an object, right? I like orchids. There are people who are crazy about all things in this world, you know. So there will be somebody in the world who is crazy about orchids. Now, when he gets an orchid, he will be happy or not? Of course. He'll be so happy. Now, please see, his happiness is contingent on the acquisition of the orchid. Without knowing, there are several things that happens in his mind when he acquires. And if you think logically, you will see that there are several things that go on in his mind when he acquires that orchid. But he doesn't pay attention to those several things, because at that moment he's engaged in the enjoyment of the orchid. So he gets the orchid. The mind instinctively knows that all things in the world are temporary, correct? Because from his experience, he would have known that he has never gotten an orchid in the past which did not wither for 20 years. There is no such orchid. From his past experience, he would have known that all orchids wither. That means it is antavat, it has an end. So he's enjoying with all this type of knowledge behind his mind. In other words, he's enjoying the orchid which he just acquired, but the mind has all this basic fundamental knowledge. The knowledge is that this thing will last a few days. Second thing, because he is enjoying an happiness, no being wants their happiness to end. So in the same mind, at the same time, there is a thought, this happiness should not end. In that same mind, at the same time, there is another thought, I know all happiness ends. I know all things are temporary. So you have one desire for it not to end, and you have a truth. And these two thoughts are always contending. So all these subtle things are happening behind his mind while he is enjoying the orchid. But he is not paying attention to all the subtler things which goes on. In other words, his sukha is malina. His sukha is malina means his sukha, every sukha like this is always attended with some limitation or attended with impurities. He cannot have pure sukha through a object, right? Through an object he cannot have pure sukha. It is always mishra, malina means mixed with other things in the mind, which he doesn't pay attention to, but that doesn't mean they are not there. Like one fellow told me who came home and his mother left food and chai and juice and I don't know what there, and when he came and saw it, ants had already gotten it. In this country, ants are smarter than human beings. Then they can catch anything very fast, right? So ants had already gotten it. When he looked, he saw the food and the juice and everything covered over. Well, easy thing. He said, I turned off the lights and so the idea is you don't see them, but that doesn't mean that they are not. That doesn't mean that they are not there. They are very much there. So the fact that he's not paying attention to those other thoughts behind his mind and contending thoughts and agitating thoughts and all sorts of problematic, so that doesn't mean that they are not there. All sukha like that is always malina mishra, like that, mixed. Now think about the other sukha. The sukha of just being peaceful. And peaceful word which we are talking about is not by the acquisition of something. In fact, the acquisition of something will disturb my peace, because in the world the human being has two pursuits. One is called as yoga and the other is called as kshema. So yoga means the pursuit of the thing or the acquisition, or trying to acquire the thing, and kshema means when I get the thing, now the attempt to preserve that thing. So when I get an object, the yoga is finished. I acquired it. Now kshema starts. Yoga kshema means I now think about how to protect it, which insurance to take out, how to paint it so that it doesn't get rust, how to build a fence around it. So many things. So the yoga part is over, now kshema part starts. Every single thing like that. So if I am now engaged in kshema, where is peace? So peace can never be achieved by the acquisition of something. Peace can only be achieved by the tyagat, shanti, anantara. By renunciation, there is immediate shanti. So the shanti which we are talking about is not by the acquisition of things. In fact, to the contrary, it is by the, that's why when you say, you please leave me alone. I just want to be peaceful. So, this peace which we are talking about is not at any time through the acquisition of anything, but it is through the shedding and relinquishing of things. When all things are shedded, relinquished, dropped, I am left in a state of absolute peace. That is the peace we are talking about. That is the ananda we are talking about. That is the bliss we are talking about. And we are looking for that by running away from that. Oh, what a wonderful thing. We are looking for that by trying to acquire things in this world. Person, place, animal, or thing as a noun. But when I get this noun, that noun, the other noun, then I will be happy. When my nature is happiness, my nature means that's ananda, my nature is shanti. And this is why we say every single act of a human being is an act springing from delusion. Every single act is an act springing from delusion. He wants to be happy. He wants to be happy. When we even say that sentence, that's delusion. What do you mean want to be happy? My nature is bliss. How you could want to be happy? You cannot want to be a human being. What are you? I am a human being. You can't want to be a human being. Because I cannot want to be happy. You see? My nature is like that. So, the first thought is delusion. Second, when I run away from myself, I will be happy. Means, in other words, I am going looking for happiness outside. I am looking for that shanti outside. When I get something, I will be peaceful. All deluded thoughts. When I get this or get that, I will be happy. So, this verse number 5 is the verse that deals with this topic of ananda, a topic which was started in the Taittiriya Upanishad, or which comes in the Taittiriya Upanishad, which is connected to the basic pursuit, the driving force of every jiva. In other words, this verse is really the summation of all the others. Otherwise, when we study Mahavakyas, when we study Upanishads, because Mahavakyas come from the Upanishads, when we study Mahavakyas, what are we in pursuit of? Mukti. What is mukti? Mukti means absolute bliss. So this verse is really the culmination of all the other studies also. And it is the basic pursuit of any creature, not only human being. Every creature wants to be happy. Now see this. Number 5. Yat saukyam buddhilesha leshata ime. Yat saukyam buddhilesha leshata ime. Shakradayo nirvrita. Shakradayo nirvrita. Yat chitte nitaram prashanta kalane. Yat chitte nitaram prashanta kalane. Labdhva munir nirvritaha. Yasmin nitya sukham buddhau galitabdhihi. Brahmevana brahmavit. Yakaschit surendra vandita padaha. Nunam Manīṣā mama. Okay, now Munihi. Munihi word is in the second line. Munihi is the subject of it. That Muni, who is Yat Chitta Nitaram Prashanta Kalane Labdhva, whose mind has attained and has become Nirvritaha Muni, who has become Prashanta, meaning the Muni who has found or whose mind has taken on the form of the absolute peace. The Muni whose mind has taken on the form of absolute peace. Now you just see, what is the meaning of mind has taken on? Suppose in the mind there is the form of a dog, right? This means the mental vritti, like how water takes on the form of a wave. So our mental stuff can take on many forms. So there is form of, so if I say dog, then immediately in your mind comes up the form of a dog, a mountain, the form of a mountain, or the memory of a mountain or whatever, right? But the mind takes on that form. Then I say sadness. Now that's a more subtle type of form, isn't it? There's some memory of some sadness that you had in some past or whatever. So when I use those type of subtler words, then some subtler form the mind takes on. Or when I say now peace, what form the mind takes on? In other words, the mind is capable of taking on various types of forms, gross and subtle, correct? So, second thing, the mind is capable of taking on various types of forms. Second thing, if the mind is trained, it can keep some of those forms for a very long time, correct or not? So if you really love your dog, the mind will remember the dog whole day. Even when you go to satsang, you remember dog only. Which people do. So the mind not only is capable of taking on various forms, but the mind can also hold on to those forms, correct? So now, suppose I am able to hold on to the form of Shanti in the mind for a very long time. Because everybody knows what is peace, correct or not? We all know what is a moment of peace, but that is our problem. It is momentary for us because the mind is not able to hold on to that form of peace. You see, if the mind is able to hold on to that form of peace, and that mind is also endowed with knowledge of Satchitananda Brahma, the absolute reality, and knows all these basic pieces of information, what that Brahma is of the nature of Sat, Chit, and eternal, limitless, infinite peace. Brahma. Second thing, that mind is endowed with the knowledge that I am also that Brahma. And how? The mind has done all of this analysis. I strip myself of all the various upadhis and all, and deep down really my nature is Satchit Anand. So the mind has to be endowed with all of this knowledge, and then conclusively come to the conclusion that I am, or very firmly come to the conclusion that I am by nature Shanti. I am by nature peace. And when the mind experiences that peace, takes that form and stays in it for a very long time, then the boundaries of mind disappear. The limitations of mind disappear. Because the vritti which is held in the mind, the vritti of peace, and the source of the vritti, they are one and same. So when this thing happens, it is called as prashanta kalana. And that Muni who has reached that state, that is what is being described. Muni, and he is become nirvritaha, means thoughtless. Because while I may start off as peace being a thought, if I am able to retain that thought in the mind for a long time, the mind will lose its boundaries. I retain in the mind the thought of peace. That object of that thought, which is peace in the mind, right? And the background peace from which the mind itself sprung. Those two pieces are one and two pieces. They are one and same. So that Muni is being spoken about here. This is called as akhandakara vritti. When the mind holds on to the vritti of the akhanda Brahma, because the mind is holding on to what is really its own source also. The boundaries of mind disappears. That is the idea. So that Rishi, that Muni, yat chittaha nitaram, constantly, all the time, Prashantakalane labdva munihi nirvritaha, whose mind has become peaceful and free from thoughts, having achieved this state. What is the nature of that? Now see in the second line, prashanta word is being used for the mind, right? And in the first line, yat saukyam buddhi, that infinite ocean of sukha, saukya sukha, that yat saukyam buddhi, buddhi means ocean, so the infinite ocean of bliss. Then lesha leshataha, lesha leshataha means a tiny particle of a drop. A drop itself from an ocean is a little bit. From an ocean, a drop is a little bit. Lesha leshataha means a drop of a drop, or a tiny wee bit, an iota of a drop, not iota of the ocean. A drop itself is an iota of the ocean, but here an iota of the drop. Here, that much happiness of that infinite reality is enough. Ime shakradeha nirvrita. Nirvrita means satisfied, content. To make Indra and all the devatas satisfied or contented. How much of that infinite bliss is required to make Indra and all the devatas satisfied? An iota of a drop of the ocean of bliss. It means the ocean of bliss is so much. No, let me back up that for you to understand what the comparison is. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, it is said, it gives, starting from this world to various worlds, lokas, right? It keeps going up to various lokas, and it says, if in this world you I'm just giving some numbers, because there also is a metaphorical thing. You can put number on bliss. If our bliss, suppose like yesterday you licked your ice cream. So if your bliss is 100 when you lick that ice cream, if you lick the same ice cream in Pitrilok, in another loka, well, it will be 1000 or 100 times that 100, right? Like that. And if you lick that same ice cream in Indralok, then it will be 100 times the 100 of Pitrilok, like that, to give some numbers, right? In other words, the comparison which is given there is, that is why people want Swarga, because in Swarga the bliss is just, that is why they can get mukti also, because they are taken up with, the bliss is all, again we are using the word bliss which should not be used, the pleasure. There, when we see it here now, we get some joy. Aha, what a nice flower. But if you see it there, ho ho ho, like that, the joy from the flower is much more. So the Taittiriya Upanishad describes this. But now, in other words, there the Taittiriya Upanishad is trying to bring a crescendo of bliss, that if we going up like this and the bliss keeps, or the joy keeps increasing, and all that joy which increases all the way to Swarga, all that joy is just an iota of a drop of the ocean of Satchit Ananda. So that type of thing, same theme is being given there, same theme is being given here. One iota of one drop is enough to make Indra, and plural is given there, Adayaha. Then up till Brahmaji also. Brahmadi pipi likanta. From Brahmaji to an ant, from the infinite bliss, only an iota of a drop is enough to satisfy all local Brahmanda. So now think about the extent of that infinite bliss. So it is given for that reason, like that. He says, the Muni who has made his mind calm and peaceful. Prashantakala nirvitaha munihi, that Muni, anhitaram, all the time, yasmin nitya sukham buddhau galita dhihi, whose dhi, intellect, has become galita. Galita means melted away. Melted away means dissolved in galita. Where? In sukham buddhau, sukham buddhi. Sukham buddhi in Tamil case sukham buddhau means to say in the ocean of bliss. His intellect has melted away, vanished, dissolved in the ocean of bliss. That Muni, he says, Brahma eva, na Brahmavit. Na Brahmavit doesn't mean that he doesn't know Brahma. He is not a Brahmavit. He is not merely a Brahmavit. He becomes Brahma. Brahmavit, Brahmaeva bhavati. This is, of course, a very philosophical statement which comes from the Mundaka Upanishad. Brahmavit, Brahmaeva bhavati means when we say in Vedanta, one who knows the reality, please do not misunderstand that. See, like for example, tad vidhi, know that. You should know that reality, because that is the instruction from the scripture. Tad vidhi, know that. Tat tvamasi, thou art. So you have to know that tat, and that I am that tat. Tad vidhi means know that. So now, that instruction does not mean to know that thing objectively. This is where the word knowing becomes difficult to understand in Vedanta. If I say know the watch, you can only know the watch objectively. But when I say know that, tad vidhi, know the reality, yeah, that is an instruction, meaning know that you are the reality. We do not know ourselves objectively. We know our existence as self-consciousness. It's not that the first or the primary knowledge for us is not an objective knowledge. It is a subjective knowledge. Means I know that I am. I know that I am first, and then I know every other thing. So, knowledge of oneself is always subjective. And that knowledge of oneself and being oneself, they are one and same. So when the instruction is given in the Upanishad, know that. It is not telling to know that objectively, it's saying become that. And second stage after that, no. Become that means what? I am already that. How you will become that? I am already that. You can't become what already you are. So in other words, know that you are that. That is the idea. Eh? Just know that you are that. But you are already that. You just have to know. So we cannot know it objectively. You can just become that. So now, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati in Mundaka Upanishad means knowledge of Brahman is not an objective knowledge. It is becoming Brahman. And becoming Brahman is something which is Swata Siddha. I am already Brahman. I cannot become Brahman. I can know that I was always Brahman. That may be. I cannot become something which I already. And that's why I was telling you just now. You cannot become a human being. Already you are a human being. Stop being a dog and be a human being. What? How you will stop and start? How you will stop being a dog and start being a human being? That is an unintelligible statement. Start being a human being. I am always a human being. Just start being Brahman. Oh, how you will start? A man can take himself to be a dog and bark, but that doesn't make him a dog. He just has to forget what he has taken himself to be. So this is the condition of the human being. And Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati in the Shastra means that the one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. So that is, those words are from in ordinary language. The one who, this is the literal translation. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati means the one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. But neither of the words in their ordinary sense are to be taken. First, you cannot know Brahman. And second, you cannot become Brahman. But the statement is saying that. So it means to say, none of the words are to be taken in their ordinary sense. It means the word have therefore, some other meaning. Lakshyartha. When the words are pointing to something. So you have to understand what it is pointing to. See, the Vachyartha means the literal meaning cannot be taken. Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. The one who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. I'm telling from an ordinary standpoint, neither of those two things are possible. Because Brahman is never an object to be known. Brahman is a subject. I told you that the subject never knows the subject. The subject knows the object. This hand can catch the object, but the hand cannot catch it. Self. That is a rule. The eyes can see the world, but the eyes cannot see the eyes. So Brahman, which is the knowing principle behind all things in the universe, which causes the mind and intellect and everything to know what they know, that Brahman itself cannot be known by that mind and intellect. And that is the idea. It is the light that supplies the illumination for the mind and intellect, but it is the light which does not have anything to know it. It is just the light shining. So that Brahman, I am always the subject, so knowing it is not possible. So Brahmavit, the knower of Brahman, has to be understood like this. Not that I know Brahman as an object. And Brahma eva bhavati, he becomes Brahma. That also I cannot become what I already am. So it means both the words in the phrase of Mundaka has to be taken by some other meaning. Not that you strive to know Brahman, but you can't. Strive to become Brahman, but you can't again. So that phrase of the Mundaka Upanishad is just colored in a different way here. This Muni, whose dhi has become Galita, melted away, where in Sukham Buddhi, in the ocean of bliss, whose intellect has melted away in the ocean of bliss. This Muni, he doesn't simply become a knower of Brahma, he becomes Brahma. Not in a literal sense. These words should not be taken in a literal sense. Ya kaschit surendra vandita padaha nunam Manīṣā mama. This Muni becomes, now see, Indra and all of them are described as having the highest bliss, because they're in the highest loka, means where human beings can go after, right? Highest bliss, because their ice cream is super ice cream. To continue with the same example, right? So those Indra and all of them whose bliss in this Brahmanda is known to be the highest bliss, they also worship the feet of such a Muni whose bliss is infinite, whose bliss knows no end. This is what the verse is, what the mantra is telling, or the verse is telling, and it says, Ya Kaschidat Re Muni. Kaschit. One, Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhayet. One rare person strives for this thing. One rare person strives for it. And among the few who strive, one rare person gets it. Why? बाकी सब लोग तो आइसक्रीम खाते हैं शगुनास दुकान में. Udar, here and there, some little bliss, some little happiness. Oh, where did you get it? Can I have a plant of it? And he gets a little bliss from that, and he's very proud because I have a plant and nobody else on my street has a plant of that particular thing, you see? So he gets his bliss like that. And from one to the next. Bliss means joy. He gets his joy like that. From one to the next, he goes on, and eternal pursuit. And when you add up all his joy in the end, what you get? Zilch. Zilch. And this Muni, Nandati, Nandati, he is reveling in eternal bliss, pure Shanti, expansiveness and all embracing nature, and deep, unfathomable bliss. Such a person is worshipable even by Indra and all the Devas. That is why Indra and all of them, they run to the Devas asking from Indra, run to the Muni Rishis, oh Muni, please bless me. But you are living in the highest world. That may be true, but your bliss is like that. So, he says, it will end again, Manīṣā. You'll have to add in all the other pieces there. If there is any person who is like this, he is my Guru. Chandalostu, Dvijostu. Whether he is Chandala or Dvija, Brahmana, whatever he is the one who is reveling in this bliss. Yogarato va, bhogarato va, sangarato va, sangavihinha. Yasya brahmani ramate chittam. Whose chitta, see, same word is used here also. Chitta, in the second line. Yat chitta, yat chitte nitaram. Whose chitta, or here dhi, whose mind stuff has dissolved in that ocean of bliss. All the time, Nandati, reveling only. He revels. Nandati, Nandati, Nandati eva. This reveling which everybody wants is only to be found inside. And the irony of all human pursuit is we are all looking for it outside. How can you catch a thing by running away from the thing? That is not possible. And human beings are eternally running away, running out. You cannot catch a thing. See, what a delusion to catch something by running away from it. We leave home to find home. Or leave home to find home. Home is home. Home is home. Oh, you'll find. Therefore, all the great sages sing and all. Moko kaha dhunde bande, moko kaha dhunde bande, मैं तो तेरे पास हूँ. Where are you looking for me? I am with you. I am you. Okay. This is our very most wonderful Manīṣā Pañcakam, and now we'll just chant verse number 1 again, symbolic of our start. This is on page number 8, that one. Bhagwan's teaching words. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sphutatara yasam vidujrimbhate ya brahmadi pipilikanta tanushu prota jagat sakshini Saivaham na cha drishyavastviti drha prajñāpi yasyāsti chet candālostu satugdvijostu gurrityesha Manīṣā mama. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.